Welcome everyone. Welcome to the meeting of December 7th, 2017. I would like to call to order the meeting of the open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. And a couple of brief announcements. First of all, Merry Christmas. And I also want to welcome our newest member here, Ken Diskin. Thank you very much, Ken, for taking the role. Ken has been appointed through the joint process of the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board, and will serve out till April elections and hopefully run for re-election. So again, thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yes, indeed. I need then, before I ask to approve the agenda, I want to let you know I do want to make an adjustment to it, given that we have a pressing issue of the covenant for what is known as Ayer 2 LLC, and I would like to put that at the top of the agenda. So with Ayer 2 being at the top of the agenda, could I have a motion to accept that amendment?
So moved.
Second on the amendment?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay. Motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Okay, I have to amend it first.
You amended it, now we're approving amending it?
We're approving the amended version.
Second.
Trust me, I know these things. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, excellent. That said, the minutes of November 2nd. Motion to approve minutes of November 2nd as presented.
So moved.
Second, do I have a second?
Second.
You weren't here.
I can't do it. I can't second because I can't do roll.
Actually, you can, but that's okay.
Actually, you
Discussion.
were here,
I was here.
and you were part of it,
Yeah.
so you can approve it.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None? Unanimous. Sign these and get rid of on the subject of minutes. Oh, okay, that's the draft.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll keep me out of trouble.
Try to keep it easy for you.
On the subject of minutes, Mark, I need you to send that letter out to reference the August minutes to our former vice chair.
Oh.
Make sure we get a letter out to that effect. Okay, the first item then being the covenant. I'd like to turn the cost of joining us at the table.
I have to recuse myself from this because
Yes.
Say again?
I have to recuse myself from this because I'm going to butt it to that project.
Okay. You can leave the room or sit in the audience as long as you don't participate in the process. Okay? You have to sit in the back corner and face the wall. Okay. Wise choice. Okay. We still have a quorum, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so again, Attorney Costa here is representing Ayer 2. We have the approved, by way of approval, I mean the town council version of the covenant.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
If he's an
Yes.
approved member.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's still three of us here.
Oh, 3 out of 5 is okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're doing a special permit.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing a special permit.
2 out of 3 is enough to have 3 out of 5. I'm sorry, I'm on the roll. So having said that, we have the approved version from our town council. Attorney Costa, I look for your approval of the same as well.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hadn't expected to see all of you so soon, but Rohit Garg had asked me to attend just to be sure that the covenant was approved tonight and to respond to any questions that the board might have. So we drafted the covenant at the request of the board or your staff. We submitted it to you. You submitted it to KP Law, your town council, who reviewed it and made red-lined edits. We've reviewed those edits. I have a couple of minor requests. Generally, I am entirely comfortable with the edits that have been made. I think they're reasonable, and frankly, they're edits that I probably would have made if I were representing your board. They offer some clarity. My requests are simple. They're all to paragraph 3, and I think that they just reflect maybe the message not having gotten through with great detail or clarity to your council in terms of what had been discussed in this room. So one point is there's a concern here. We had language at the end of paragraph 3 that said, in the event that the planning board doesn't issue a determination within 30 days following a request, that the infrastructure shall be deemed completed. Your council was concerned about that concept of a constructive approval if the board can't meet quickly enough. I understand why they're concerned about that. My client said, well, we really need to have this in there. And I said, well, I'm not sure we're going to get it back in there if town council said they're not comfortable with it. What I've done, and I have a clean version for you that reflects this change, and I'm happy to provide it to you. What I'm requesting of the board is simply the addition of the same word in the last 2 sentences, the word timely, just so there's no question that the board has to act in a timely fashion, so that the board can.
As opposed to reasonably, you mean?
No, so the way that I've got it reading is, if a majority of the members of the planning board determine upon a vote that the required infrastructure work has been completed in compliance with the plan and site plan approval decision, then the vote will be timely conveyed in writing and the covenantor may commence operations of the solar project. Just so there's no question that you'll act in a timely fashion and we're not going to be waiting 90 or 120 days to get a sign-off, which of course is problematic. And I've added the same word to the last sentence. In the event the planning board determines that any aspect has not been satisfactorily completed, it shall timely specify in writing such deficiencies, etc. So that's the first set of changes I've made, just adding that one word to those 2 sentences. And I defer to the board as to whether the board is comfortable with that. I'm not going to push for what I think my client would prefer, which is the language we originally had that provided for this 30-day deadline. I appreciate representing boards myself that sometimes you just can't meet in 30 days. So the goal here isn't to try to sneak something by the board. It's just to be sure that action occurs in a timely fashion. The other request I have, I think, is just a clarification, and this is what I reflected before when I said I'm not sure that town council, not having been present for our discussions, recognized the intent of paragraph 3 fully. So we reference in the first 2 sentences really the components of the project that are meant to be secured by this covenant. Number 1, the driveway construction, and number 2, the stormwater management system. We understand that. We push back a bit on that, but we understand that's the board's decision, and that's the requirement of the written decision that was filed with the town clerk. The second sentence, in fact, cites to that. If a majority of the members of the planning board determine upon a vote that the required infrastructure work has been completed, and then it goes on to say that the covenant can be released. But then in the last sentence, and I'm not sure exactly why, your council struck the word infrastructure and put in the term solar project. So it reads, in the event that the planning board determines that any aspect of the solar project, as opposed to infrastructure, has not been satisfactorily completed, it shall specify such deficiencies. And again, the covenant isn't securing the whole project. It's a private project on private property. It's securing the infrastructure, meaning the driveway and the stormwater management system. That's what's referenced in sentence 1 of the paragraph. That's what's referenced in sentence 2 of the paragraph. Sentence 3 is just saying, if we determine that you haven't satisfied it, then we tell you how you haven't satisfied it, and you've got to fix it before we're going to release the covenant. It's a fair request, but I just want to be sure that we're talking about the same thing in sentence 3 that we're talking about in sentences 1 and 2.
Well, that said, I'm reluctant to have an attorney review my final paperwork and then change it without having my attorney bite off on it. So anything you give me tonight in the way of change, other than what I've got before me, is going to have to go back to my attorney for his comment.
Okay, and so I guess I have a suggestion in that regard. I understand that we're coming upon the holidays. I don't think your board meets again in the month of December. Right. So my request would be, and I certainly appreciate your concern. I think that these are minor modifications and they're consistent with what's been discussed, and one of them actually provides for internal consistency.
Also, I might add, it's not a compelling change to me.
So my,
Go ahead.
but it has real meaning to it. I mean, the concept that the board could refuse to release the covenant on the basis that it doesn't like the location of a panel, something that is central to the project itself, as opposed to concern with the infrastructure, meaning the roadway or the stormwater management system. From a financing perspective, I understand realistically you're not going to do that. We're not going to be in that situation. The plans show where the panels are going to be located. But from a financing perspective, they see the covenant and they say, wait a second, we're concerned with this. So I guess what I would ask is if the board was comfortable with these changes, subject to council review tonight, that you vote in that manner, sign the document, allow your council to sign off on them. I don't expect you to release the covenant until such time as that occurs, and then when that occurs, you can release the covenant and we can get it on record. That will presumably happen faster than 5 weeks from now.
Since I came on the board, I'm not in favor of one of waivers, and I'm not in favor of approving subject to. To me, it proves to be not good business. I'd rather get things very clear and then say, yes, we approve on that. Now, I'll open it to the board for discussion, but that's unequivocally my position. Any discussion?
I'm with you. It sounds like very similar, but I would love to hear that from our attorney that timely doesn't have some legal interpretation that I'm unaware of. It sounds simple, but I'm with Jim
Yeah.
on this.
So we either sign tonight or take your comments and run them back through legal, which clearly won't come back until January.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that they're significant enough changes that they need to. I mean, they are substantive. Maybe significant's not the right word. They are substantive changes. Maybe not so much the word timely, but certainly the concept of sentence 3 in paragraph 3 being consistent with sentences 1 and 2. I think that's an error, quite frankly, that it's not in your version consistent. And I think the consistency is important, not only in terms of the enforceability of the document, but in terms of the effect that it has on the project, the functionality of the project, the financeability of the project at this early stage. So, again, my client wanted me to try to press to make this happen. With being up against the holidays and knowing your board's not meeting again until January, it sets us back, 4 to 5 weeks in our financing process. We can't move forward until such time as we have the covenant approved by the board.
Well, again,
I would make a motion that we follow Jim's suggestion, and I'm all in favor of it. I think there are minor changes, but I think our legal team has to sign off on it before we approve it. And I also am not in favor of saying yes, subject to, because then it's a legal ease going backwards. So I make a motion to
approve as presented.
approve as written or disapprove.
Well, what I would want in the way of a motion is to approve the document as presented and then open that up for discussion.
Motion to approve as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second? Second, okay. My discussion point is that I firmly believe that the board has been very cooperative with the applicant in this regard. So I really don't see a problem going forward as to the communications back and forth on when the document is conveyed and or any communications relative to the project. This, again, as stated at my closing of the public hearing, is that the project is going to be closely monitored by all of our elements in town hall. And I see that as a cooperative effort. And by illustration, the fact that the covenant came to me tonight and I put it right on the top of the agenda as an amendment indicates that willingness to work with you. So I really don't see a problem going forward with this document as presented.
And Jerry, I would say if we can get a ruling from town council, I don't see
Well,
a
I
big
wouldn't,
problem.
I wouldn't be against
A
having
special-
you submit documents in the future, trying to amend, and that's a different story, but at least
So, I mean, we
we'll
could
have
have a
it.
special meeting if some
Right,
part of
if
financing
some
was
major
trust-
issue
was trust.
presents, yeah. But I would like to have the covenant in place, and then I would certainly be open to any amendment you'd want to present in the future.
That's a fair approach.
And I think that would be the best course of action, again, given that timing and the fact that both we and the applicant want to move forward on this project. So.
That's a fair approach, and I didn't mean to suggest in my presentation that the board hasn't been cooperative. I appreciate you getting us on the agenda tonight. I just had a concern. Again, there are a number of moving parts, more so in my experience with these solar projects, maybe these and affordable housing projects more than anything else, because of the complications of financing, the different agencies and subsidies that are involved. And you've got sometimes too many sets of eyes on the same document, and they all raise different concerns. So we saw this as a potential concern moving forward. I think with the board's approval tonight, I can put it in the hands of my client to decide whether he wants to get the ball rolling on financing. If this continues to come up as an issue in the next few weeks, we can submit a request to modify in January or February when the time is right, and in advance of that appearance before the board, get your town council to review and sign off.
Okay.
That's fair.
That said, then the motion is moved and seconded for approval as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Unanimous.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Okay. We're going to sign this tonight. We've got our notary public present.
That's great.
So we'll be signing in the presence of our notary, and as soon as I get it back to administration and Mark and Heather will get a hold of you with copies of same.
That'd be great. I'll have either Cal or Kyle stop by and pick it up when it's ready so that we can get the additional
Mark, I think
signatures.
you've got an original for our signature.
It's,
This one right here.
right, I gave it to Heather.
Okay. Thank you. Attorney
Thank you very
Ross.
much.
Left-handed.
So I can notarize it tomorrow.
I'm sorry?
I can notarize it tomorrow. I will step upstairs.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Did he leave the room? I wanted him to get a copy before,
I think you left the room.
because they haven't signed it yet. Well,
Well-
it just delays the process. But,
Oh.
No, yeah, you can't sign.
anyway.
Do you want me to track it down?
Yeah, could you? Attorney Costa, did you want to wait for a copy of this? Because your
I'd be happy to.
applicant hasn't signed it.
I think that's why I said I'd have Cal or Kyle stop by, but if you're going to sign it right now, I thought you were going to sign at the end of your meeting.
Process to sign
Be
it?
happy to.
And then after you guys sign, then we can notarize it. Is that how we do it?
There should be separate notarizations.
No,
Yep, there are. See the separate notarizations for each party. Because
Yeah.
That's why,
but I mean, this one's under all of your signatures.
that's why I mentioned we signed
So
it
I'm
in
just
the
wondering
presence
if
of,
I need to have Cal.
No, they can be on successive pages. So this one refers to the board, so that's
Okay.
fine. And then the next one will be that's Ayer
Okay.
Solar 2's.
Okay.
So we're gonna. What happens is once you sign, we have to circulate it. That's why this says State of Michigan. We'll send it off to Ayer Solar
I'm just
2.
wondering if I need to run upstairs and get my notary stuff, or if you're fine with it not being notarized right now.
Oh, it needs to be notarized before I can circulate it for other signatures, because then I've got to record it once it's.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Well, we could move back to the.
Or
Oh,
They
are
can't
you?
pick it up.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can notarize it.
Okay.
no, or that.
I-
That's why I wasn't going to wait. I didn't want to cause any inconvenience for the board.
Speed business.
Super fast nowadays.
All
That
the
was,
players in the room, why not play them?
that was my discussion
I thought I didn't realize my
for
name.
that, one of the A&Rs.
I'm sorry, Robert. I didn't realize you were a notary. Just got a bunch of them in this town. This is right now.
Oh, you don't have rules with you.
No, because the application says they don't have to bring it until the meeting. The
You're not
application
here
states
for,
they don't
Rosewood
have to bring it
extension?
until the meeting.
I'm not, but Cal or Kyle will be, I believe.
Okay, I just don't see you in the room. But
Yeah.
I don't either. Is it early on in the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, someone's
Is
just
Wright
running
Road
out.
here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Someone's just running out. No, come on.
I'll call Kyle
Okay.
before I leave town hall.
Kyle indicated.
You put a copy in my chamber file.
I will. I'll go make copies right now.
What did Kyle tell you?
It was his wife's birthday, so he
Oh.
would do it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how to proceed. on the
Is
A&R.
it A&R? I think it's 21 days, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can get him or Kyle on the phone, and I'll find out if they want to sign off on an extension or something.
Just one?
Sure, yes.
Let me
If
see
we
if I
get an
can get it.
extension, we could do it for January 4th.
Anything else?
Let me just step out now. I'll
Okay,
call.
sure.
Did, Rosewood Extension just come in?
No.
No, Mr. Chair, Attorney Coster is going to try to get a hold of either Calvin or Kyle to see if they would be agreeable to an extension of the Rosewood Extension A&R until January. So, in that
Have
case,
to
we,
be, don't you?
right, in that case, we could switch the order of the.
Okay, let's
of the
move
agenda.
on to, Wright Road. Come on down.
Everyone have a plan?
Oh, yeah, I have. Yes, yes,
Okay, I can, oh, you stand on it? All right.
But I have them, if you actually can read it if you want.
Which one is this? Okay,
Is
this
it Wright
is,
Rose? It's not, it's the second A&R, not the first.
Harriet McGuan,
So that one, yeah.
and you, sir,
I'm Mark Wheeler from David Ross Associates,
okay, welcome.
and this plan is for Joseph and Carrie McGuan. In March, you created lots 1, 2, and 3, and now we're going to divide Lot 3 into lots 4, 5, and 3A. Lots 4 and 5 have 100 feet of frontage and in excess of 12,000 square feet of area. And Lot 3A has 1.63 acres. It has just under 67 feet of frontage on Wright Road, and then so the rest of their frontage on Sandy Way.
So how do you get to your 100-foot frontage?
We're counting frontage on Sandy Way.
What is that, 15 and 66?
No,
That doesn't get to 100, does it?
No, we're
hundreds of feet.
There's, yeah,
for Lot 3A with the
180.
existing house, their address is Sandy Way, and we're counting their frontage for their lot frontage as fronting on Sandy Way. There was a look of confusion.
No, I'm not seeing the map. What am I not seeing there? 67 and then 16, right?
No.
The entire lot.
What was the prior 3 lots?
The prior 3 lots were
Oh, okay,
a plan done back in March.
yeah, all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
And so I believe Sandy Way is a private way, but back in 1988, there was kind of like a development scheme where permanent rights of way were granted to the town. I think it was 1988.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask the applicant a question. I looked into this too with the A&R law, and there, you know, it could be either a public way, a way approved to the Subdivision Control Act, or a way in existence prior to when the subdivision control law was adopted by the town, which I believe is the case here. We looked historically to see when Sandy Way was in existence, and I think it goes back to the early 1900s.
Yes, you can see the model lot, which used to be something else.
Right, yes.
That was their access for the project, and I think it was in '88 that they formally deeded easements over these,
Oh,
roads to the
Right.
pond and the houses down there.
yes.
Okay.
I don't believe it was ever accepted as a public way, other than the town were given permanent right-of-way easements.
Right, yes. But I checked with Public Works, and they found it on a map of the town that goes back to the early 1900s, prior to the subdivision control law being adopted by the town,
Okay.
which qualifies it as being acceptable for an A&R,
Yep.
in my opinion.
Questions by the board, if any?
I just have a comment.
Yep.
I reviewed Mark's staff report, which he submitted with the drawing. And I'm very grateful that we're gonna get these kind of reports for any kind of project that he reviews, so thank you. That was comprehensive, understandable, and I don't see any reason why we would improve this the way it's shown.
Okay, I need a motion to approve A&R for Joseph B. and Carrie McGuan as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What's that?
Do you want to sign the plan now?
Do you have the Mylar?
Oh,
I mean,
Yes.
Yep.
copies you want, there's no Mylar.
There's the Mylar, that's good. I have your Sharpies, I have the Mylar, and I have at least
Okay.
3
Yeah.
paper
Let's
copies.
get it done.
All right.
Maybe you got other tables adequate to that.
Sign this paper.
You're carrying the town hall on your shoulders.
Not yet.
What color black do I want?
We can come. Okay, which I think will be the case. In the break room upstairs. Do you need a cup of water?
Behind the home. One side leads to the restroom, the other side leads to the kitchen.
Oh, right.
You may be on the left.
Left,
Yep.
left if you're on the stage, right if you're.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, where's the solar project going?
It's kind of complicated to show it on the map.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's on Groton Road?
Yeah.
Groton Road?
Where is it?
The location of the solar.
It's going to be behind them, between,
It's solar too?
yeah.
Yes.
We kind of know where it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain where it
But
is.
to
You know where
verbally
Ken's
describe
at?
where it
It's
is
like in the
without a
woods.
map,
Over there.
Oh,
it's a
it's,
little
It's like
different.
in the
So-
woods.
The driveway is coming off of Washington Street, just beyond the power lines.
okay.
In essence, it parallels the power lines and ends up being towards the rail trail ends.
Yeah.
Between Washington Street and the rail trail.
Okay.
We still don't know about Rosewood tonight, do we? Uh-huh.
Do you-
Right.
If you want to mention it, but before 7:30, that I have to do some last two things.
Yeah,
So make
that's
sure you
fine.
mention it.
Huh?
In case, I don't know who's going to take the minutes.
Yeah, your boss will.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
There you go.
Oh, no, just-
Is there an airport, so she gets stamp signatures where.
Oh, right, right. Yep, yes, yep. control that.
I thought it just meant we get to go home.
Mark, what's your comment on Rosewood Ave extension without the applicant?
That's difficult, I think. It was a simple A&R with one new lot line.
Right.
As far as meeting the A&R requirements, it did.
So,
Excuse me?
Because it was in the kind of office that
No, it doesn't, you know, we're not
I'm
deeming
going
it to be
to pose that
buildable.
question.
Right,
Not something I'll have to do.
right. I think it's best practice to have the applicant's representative.
They didn't sign.
Hmm?
Oh, they
There's
didn't bring a
nothing to sign.
Mylar, okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
Because
in
your
which case-
existing application
Okay.
states that
Yep,
they can bring
yep.
him to the meeting,
Yep.
but not beforehand, so I have nothing. You just-
oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Which is why we have on the agenda for later that we start looking at the application forms themselves.
Yep, yep.
Oh, I
Okay,
forgot
good.
to include the revenue certification.
Oh,
Well, I did
well,
draft
we'll
it.
have to do that.
I did draft that. It's on the list of things to do, but I did draft it. It's fairly simple.
All set?
Now, are you keeping some of these
Yeah, maybe
copies?
just leave me two, that would be fantastic, and the rest you're welcome to have, and I have your rubber band if you'd like it.
Question before we move on with the board. A&Rs could be approved without the applicant running. I don't think it's a very good practice, even if one question come up. A&R for Rosewood Extension, we need that put on January. Did you get that? January.
Yes.
Okay. So then with that, let's move on to our commuter rail parking facility in Depot Square site plan review. Now, an opening comment.
Rich, will have a copy.
For a discussion on this project. Quite frankly, it's not about if, it's about how. Over the last 20 or 30 years, this has been a step. The chair will not entertain that which is relevant to site plan review. So with that, I present to you Mr. Robert Pomperian and our town administrator, welcome.
Thank you.
And I'd like you to lead the discussion on behalf of the town of Ayer on Depot Square Park.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Board, on behalf of the town of Ayer and the Ayer Board of Selectmen, as well as the Montechusett Regional Transit Authority, I'm here on behalf of them as the applicant for the site plan review for the commuter rail parking facility at the Ayer Rail Trail parking lot. With me tonight is Ms. Alyssa Peck from Wesson and Sampson, the project engineer, Mr. Lawrence Keegan from Wesson and Sampson, and Mr. Brandon Kochel, the landscape engineer
Come join us at the table, sir.
from Wesson and Sampson. Additionally, Alan Minoyan from the Economic Development and Community Development Office, and of course, Mark Archambault, your planner. I'm going to turn it over to Wesson and Sampson to do the presentation, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick remarks on behalf of the project and housekeeping matters. The first is that the plans were submitted to the town last Friday, December 1st. Those are undergoing interdepartmental review as we speak. I know that Heather and Mark have some of those formal responses back. Others will be coming back shortly, so we understand that that is still in the works from departments. Additionally, in the middle of the table for each of the members, which Larry brought tonight, is the traffic memo, the traffic study for the project, so that arrived today. So with that being said, the expectation tonight obviously would be that there'll be a continuance so that we get all of the information that the planning board would like. Lastly, I appreciate your comments, Mr. Chairman, that, again, the focus is the site plan of this project. I mean, we're 21 years in the making. This is the project conceptually that was approved by the Board of Selectmen after a series of public outreach and public input, and that's what Weston and Sampson and Mart has designed. Lastly, this is a $4.2 million project on behalf of the town. Of course, like any project under site plan review, there's always issues and questions and concerns, and I look forward to working with the planning board in the spirit of resolving those issues in a positive manner to move this forward. So with that, I know that Weston and Sampson has a presentation for the planning board. Hard copies of that my office can also provide, and we will get this presentation also available for the public. Lastly, plans are also available at Town Hall, and my office and the planning office are here for the public to facilitate any questions or concerns as well.
Okay.
So with that,
one comment before
Yeah.
you begin. On behalf of my board, I do want to say that we're going to institute, if you will, a site plan or a site walk on any site reviews that come before us. Now, given that this is, again, a 21, depending on who's counting, 21 to 30 years, if you really go back to the first concepts of things. But anyway, I invite the board to think about a date going forward for a site walk, if you so choose. Let me know, let Mark know, and we'll set that up. But on the site walk, it'll be a fractured effort, so that there's no violation of open meeting law discussion on the site walk. So that said, I certainly understand where the board, just seeing these documents perhaps for the first time in this form, we'll take this all under advisement and probably have more feedback for you on our follow-up discussion.
okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa and Larry for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Mr. Pig. I have some plans to accompany the traffic memo. I think you maybe share one copy and can present those. Mail them.
You have a presentation up here.
Yes. Those are some amendments to the plans that we provided on Friday.
That's an amendment to the drawings that came in on December 1st.
Yes, correct. I believe there are 6 sets, and I think we needed to have
And
7.
you'll be addressing those via media, the changes?
Correct. Yeah, some of the changes are identified in there. Well, as Robert said, I'm Melissa Peck from Weston and Sampson. I'm here with Larry Keegan and Brandon Kunkel, also from Weston and Sampson. We were hired by Mart to design the commuter rail parking facility at the existing Ayer Rail Trail parking lot. This project also encompasses the improvements to Depot Square. The project goals are to maximize parking at the facility, improve the Depot Square area, and enhance the Main Street pedestrian crossing. If you aren't familiar with the area, the facility is accessed via Groton Street to the north, and to the west is Park Street. To the right is the rail trail that is identified in the yellow and red arrows. Thank you, Alan. And there's also Main Street to the south. The existing parking facility currently has 84 parking spaces. Just a couple of photos of the existing lot. On the left-hand side, we are standing at the southern end of the parking lot, looking to the north towards the entrance at Groton Street. The right-hand photo is looking south from the entrance. This is some photos of the Main Street crossing. On the left, this is on the sidewalk looking down towards the train depot. And on the right-hand photo, this is looking towards West Street. And as you can see, there's wheelchair ramps that are not ADA compliant, and actually the crossing towards Depot Square, there is not even a wheelchair ramp at all. These are photos of Depot Square. To the left, we're standing in the medicine shop, looking towards the Advocates building, which will be the future Depot Square Park, and to the right is the Keolis building, which will have the future turnaround area and drop-off area. Just a brief project history, recent history. I understand it's been going on for 19 to 20 years now, but when we were hired by MART a little over a year ago, we presented them with 4 different design options, and we presented them in a public forum back in February 2017, where we listened to concerns from the community. Following that public workshop, we presented 2 design schemes to the Board of Selectmen, and in March of 2017, they approved a 7-foot clear parking deck option. The alternative option that was presented was an at-grade parking facility that did not provide ample parking. And then most recently, we presented to the Zoning Board of Appeals just a couple of weeks ago. We requested just 3 waivers for parking space size, the space per car, and for the curb cut. All 3 of those were non-conforming to begin with, so. And we received approval. The proposed parking facility provides 160 spaces, which is 76 more than what there is today. As you drive in, actually, I think I'll use the pointer here. Oh, for God's sakes, you know.
Oh, I think I know how to get, there's a,
I could just use the mouse.
there's,
You want questions
now you
that
can,
go
now you
along
can,
with the-
now you can use this.
You know what? That would be fine.
This
It will
red
break it
dot
up.
can
And
be your pointer. The,
Oh, yeah.
conventional laser pointer will not work with this, I was told.
Oh.
I just got a lesson this
oh,
morning.
does it disappear
So
into
you can
the?
just use this to point things out.
Okay,
The
great.
mouse.
Oh, don't drag me.
I'm not sure you
Yeah.
should
Don't hold
answer
the
my
button
question.
down.
You want questions?
Oh, right.
Questions during our sure.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
not permanent.
Yeah, that is not going to be there.
That's part of the design.
Yeah.
Is your scope the
Right.
parking facility itself only and/or Depot Square, or both?
I'm sorry.
Both.
Both.
Okay. So the medicine building is staying or going?
That is staying. That's not a town-owned property. It will stay, and the proposed design is strictly on the town-owned.
So the parameters of Depot Square are only the passageway that goes
Exactly. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the parameters of Depot Square are the access pathway and the Advocates building, which
Okay.
is scheduled for demolition by the end of this month.
across?
The
Okay.
medicine shop is not part of the project, nor was it ever
Okay.
contemplated as part of it.
Okay.
So it was just coincidence that it just closed?
That is correct. There is no connection,
Oh.
contrary to
Well,
what.
we've got our economic director in the room,
Yeah.
that's why I'm.
I'll give you all the detail you like.
Yeah, in more detail, but just for the record and for the planning board, the closure of the medicine shop is not connected in any way to this
Okay,
project.
so our scope is simply the
The scope is the
passageway,
advocates in the path.
and the structure.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So the access to the proposed parking facility will remain on Groton Street. Turning right into the facility, there's the option to unload for those that have roof racks and bikes on top of their cars. They will not fit under the 7-foot clearance. And so you drive in and you can either choose to go straight or continue up the ramp here to the parking deck up top, which is more or less, it mimics generally what you see on the bottom floor. So just to go over a couple of the things that you see here, the red is the rail trail. We have more or less maintained the footprint of the existing parking facility. However, we've aligned it a little bit more with the bike path to be able to construct the ramps and the foundations and the structure itself. In green here, I can see you want to have a question.
160 including existing ground level?
84.
So 160 total. There's 84 currently right now. We actually are, there's 81 now on the bottom floor.
160 includes the 84?
Correct, so we're adding 76 additional
Okay.
spaces. So the spaces in green are going to be dedicated for rail trail use only. As part of the land transfer from DCR to the town, the project is required to mitigate, and for this project, the mitigation comes in the form of 10% of the parking spaces provided has to be dedicated for rail trail use only, and those are the spaces that you see in green. The other form of mitigation is down in Depot Square, which is in the form of a bathroom or comfort station, but we'll talk about that later. In purple are the handicap spaces, which will be on the bottom floor. And I guess we'll move to the next slide. So what does this look like? So this is the elevation that you would see from Park Street. So you'll see that we're using a brick facade, and this brick look will be achieved through formwork or actual brick. It's to be determined. We've got to look into the pricing of all of it. But as you can see here in this enlarged view, we're incorporating the form liner here and a brick look, a couple of different colors, and then also just some brushed concrete as well.
Just so you know, the town is an integral member of the team. So before we do any materials, it'll be the team that decides what the face looks like. It's not something that we're telling you should have.
So you'll be submitting.
So the
all
team being actually the board of
materials.
selectmen, right? They're the agents in this, the decision makers.
Yes.
It won't be coming back to us.
Yeah.
I'm colorblind.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, as Larry said, I think it's important as we move forward on these aesthetics and these materials, Weston and Sampson in no way is dictating that, as wouldn't be the case. These things will be vetted by the professional departments as well as through the Board of Selectmen in the public process on the final selection. So many of the things that they're showing are potential ideas and so forth, and as Alyssa mentioned, also cost will also determine some materials as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Robert. And so the brick facade was chosen because it matches the downtown area, and hopefully it'll incorporate within the existing area quite well. The height for the facade is 13 feet 4 inches. There are stairwells on either end. Those are a bit higher, but we're still under design. Should be under at least 20 feet. This elevation is from the bike trail. Now you can see it's a little bit different. We have opted to show less brick and have more concrete as a cost-saving measure. This side won't be visible to you unless you're on the bike trail. All through the three other sides, I'll show you quickly, will have the brick look, but the bike trail we've presented as having a more concrete look for a cost-saving measure.
Question on the bike trail. Right now, you've got the bike trail coming out onto Groton Street. Is there going to be an additional access to the bike trail, given that bottleneck of traffic coming out of the...
There's currently no improvements to the actual crossing across Groton Street.
I assume anybody using the parking facility will be taking a right into the parking garage before the rail trail.
Exactly.
They're separated. Okay,
Mhm.
so,
Right.
so it's not really an
The,
issue.
the,
Okay.
the entrance to the proposed facility is generally in the same location that it is now.
Right.
Pretty much
Yeah.
identical.
Mhm.
Okay.
Next, I'll discuss the proposed grading and drainage. So the whole design is generally mimicking the existing scheme. It runs off in the manner at which it's shown now. We are reusing the existing infrastructure where we can, where the grades work. We're keeping the structures, and where they don't, in some cases, we're able to just adjust them and keep it, or we're adding in additional structures. We are improving it in the sense that currently the southern end of the parking lot, actually let me use the mouse now, from about here over on the existing parking lot, there is no structure over here. It runs off through a curb opening and sheet flows off the site. We're adding a structure here so that everything that is captured on the property will be captured into the drainage system. Furthermore, we are adding a stormwater treatment system here. We are suggesting a hydrodynamic separator. It's just one unit that reduces the oil, sediment, and debris that enters into the town's drainage system. Sure.
So the way you just described the oil separator and whatnot, is basically saying that all the drainage from the new site is going to return to that separator before it discharges off the site.
Exactly. So the first structure will have a bypass weir in it, and what it'll do is in typical flows, it'll direct the runoff into the second structure here, which will be your hydrodynamic separator. It'll treat the runoff and then direct it back into the existing drain line, which is right here. In higher flows, it will bypass and go straight through.
So I assume there's a system in place to clean the gas traps and all that sort of stuff?
Right. As part of the package that we turned in on Friday, we have a stormwater report which has a operation and maintenance plan for any of the stormwater structures, catch basins, and the stormwater treatment units.
The rain that falls on the deck upstairs, how does that get treated, drainage wise? Is it a roof drain type system and goes into the site?
Right, so it'll get collected in drains on the deck, and it'll get piped through, and it'll be incorporated into the drainage system underneath. We haven't gotten to those details yet, but it will run through.
There'll be deck scuppers. There'll be deck scuppers where it'll be piped through the structure and down a column line and into the pipe system in the ground.
Right. I think it's insulated or whatever it has to be.
Right.
It frees up and whatnot.
Right.
I don't know if that red dot keeps showing up, but so this is the existing. So this is our proposed design for the Main Street crossing. We are redesigning the wheelchair ramps now. Currently, you have a wheelchair ramp that's not ADA compliant right here, and there is not one here at all. So we're proposing one in this direction and one in that direction as well. So the flow will be you coming from the parking facility across the existing sidewalk, and this will be a brick resin crosswalk. So it won't be actual brick. There will be no issues with plows or anything like that. We're also going to improve the sidewalk on this side as well, and where the sidewalk will direct you to Depot Square. One addition to this area is the hawk signals, which are right here and right here. These are...
Define hawk signals?
I will. Yes. They are... Actually, we'll go to the next slide. This is an installation of a hawk signal. They are pedestrian activated. When they haven't been activated, they are black and traffic flows like it normally would. When they are activated by a pedestrian, they will turn red and act like any other traffic light. And one of the concerns we understand from the emergency personnel in town is whether or not there can be overridden by the fire, police, and we know that it can be preempted, and it can tie into the Opticom system, which is what the police use.
Which is what?
The police and fire currently use Opticom, and it's an emitter on their dashboard. So when they're coming up to a regular signal light, turns green for them and turns red for the others, so they can go straight through. What this will do is, typically, if no one's there, as Alyssa had mentioned, it's black. You can't see any color at all. The LED lights are off. When someone pushes the button, you get the bottom piece underneath those two red lights is yellow, and it flashes yellow for a little bit, and then it goes solid yellow. So it alerts the motorist that something's going to happen, and then it turns red, which means they have to stop. The stop lines are put just beyond the resin crosswalk, and as the people get across, it flashes red and then it turns off. And the only time that goes on is when it's push button activated by pedestrians. Now, the Opticom, what that will do, it'll allow that not to happen. So people can't, even if they push the button, that light will not go on. Now, in tandem with those lights up on the mast arms, there are pedestrian walk, don't walk signs. So when that's red for the traffic, it gives you the walk sign. When you're not supposed to cross yet, it gives you the don't walk, and the don't walk stays on until someone pushes that light. So when the Opticom comes through, when the ambulance, the police, or the fire truck, they push the button on the dash, it sends a signal to the controller that says, keep that don't walk, let us go through.
So it's proximity to the fire station, given it's right on the corner. That's not an issue?
No.
Okay.
Could you back up to the previous slide? I want to see where those are located.
So these go to the fire department as usual, is that right? They review?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they will
yeah.
know, again, what Jim was saying, if coming out, they have enough room to set that off, because it's right on the corner there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And is that in the traffic plan, the traffic study, I'm sorry, has already studied I'm thinking the busy time for people, it's now going to be double the number of people coming from the parking is at the same time that the traffic is like really high at that corner there, right? So
There's no guarantee when the fire happens.
No.
So,
No, this is a second question.
okay.
But those two things they're gonna be twice as many people now, right? Crossing,
It will be heavier.
it will be heavy, and
It will be
that
heavy.
is included in this traffic study?
We looked at
Okay.
and actually I'm probably up next.
You are up
And I'm going
next.
to talk about the traffic.
Okay.
Okay.
David.
So I'll ask you
Oh.
when you're up.
Okay.
Oh, you were at the locations, right?
The location of the system, the Hawk system, the one you're pointing at now is quite a ways away from the sidewalk where people are going to come from the depot. It's been outside the brick work. The other one is inside the brickwork on that corner. Are we anticipating that people are going to cross that brick at an angle in all probability? Is that why the wide distance of
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You're going to be running for the train and probably crossing immediately.
And we didn't want to put the Hawk signal on the other side because there's not enough room to put it,
Right.
and it would be too far down the street with the stop lines.
So this seems like a more practical approach because there's much more safety involved here with a
Correct.
wider span.
Exactly.
Correct.
Okay.
And people do what they want. It's hard to control, but at least if you got something that's large and it's got a color, it's got some texture, they're more likely to cross there than elsewhere if they know it's going to be safer.
Well, just a quick comment. We've got, I believe, 10 or 11 crosswalks between bridge to bridge, and people don't use any of them, so they just right across the street.
There's, I have to say, a lot of the crosswalks are very narrow.
Yeah.
I think they're way too narrow in the whole area, but this is something that it catches your eye. I'm not sure what else to say. We've used these successfully at other locations. That next slide is actually a location at a rail trail crossing in Framingham that we did, and it works quite well on I think that's
Could you-
Route 135.
And the piggybacking on your question about, it's going to be right near that corner there.
With
Right by the
West,
Agassiz.
Why don't you go back?
Right in front of Agassiz.
Okay.
right, so the rail
Where
trail,
there currently is
Yeah,
a
point out the other one.
crosswalk, and the Hawk hawk light is going to be right before it. So is there
That's the other.
anything on Park Street to let people, I know I already, when I'm crossing, like to walk down one or two more, I use the crosswalks. Walk down one or two because that one is, it's hard for people coming, and sometimes they have to come out of Park Street quickly in order to get through on traffic.
That's right, to beat it, because there's no light there. So
Right.
it's playing beat the person's.
And if the
You're right,
light
it's gonna be
doesn't
very-
come till after they turn and they already sped up to get in front of the other cars.
That was one of my questions. Are we putting in lights?
I will get to that.
Because the scenario
Sounds like a no.
I can see is that they're sitting there waiting for half an hour to turn, and suddenly they've got time because, the cars are slowing down because of the hawk light, but they can't see the hawk light. And they go screeching out and,
You can see that hawk light from the stop line at Park
see, I
Street.
see you have a nice red line for the,
But it's on the other side.
To combine
So
that.
There's two, there's one on the other side
There's
also.
this one
There's the other
here,
one.
and I don't. It
That's
doesn't
why I
stay.
asked the
Sometimes
question.
on
One
each
either side of
It's
that.
one on either side of the crosswalk.
Yeah.
there.
but that's gonna be crossing Main Street.
Correct, and it's over Main Street, it's on a mast arm. So you see those two arrows? Those are both those heads you saw in the other
It's
photo.
pointing. The lights are pointing this way.
Maybe I'm at the.
So the traffic flowing here, we'll see the light on this one. The traffic flowing here.
When it turns red, right where the end of the arrow was now.
Is it where the crosswalk is right now?
This
is.
one is right here.
It's
is
exactly
where the crosswalk.
is now.
See,
Yes.
I think it's already dangerous. I always walk down to the next one.
You don't have a light there.
What?
You don't have a light there to stop the traffic.
Won't be dangerous with
You don't have a light anyplace.
But there isn't gonna be.
I'm just
the light
saying.
is only gonna be on-
That's why we put in the hawk signals.
is I guess why I'm suggesting.
And the stop line is back here to.
She's got a misunderstanding.
Let's finish the overview and then we'll get to traffic, as
Yeah. Okay. Well, Larry was up next anyway to talk about traffic, so I think we'll just continue the discussion.
I don't think I want to talk about it. Okay, we did a traffic study and put a memo together where, I'm sorry we didn't have it before tonight, but like I said, we get copies for everybody to look at. We took turning movement counts and 24-hour counts last December, about a year ago. The turning movement counts were taken at Groton and Park. Turning movement counts, for those who are unfamiliar, they count all of the movements from each stop line, basically. The number of rights, the number of lefts, the number of throughs. And we did that for Groton Park, and, we did it for Main, Park, and Mill Street. We did 24-hour counts just north of Groton on Park, and we did it on Main Street, just east of West Street.
Where's Mill Street?
Mill Street is down going to the lumberyard.
Right before.
Subway is down there. It's almost like a driveway.
It says though Park Street continues.
Straight through cross.
Okay.
Park Street.
All right.
It's like a four-way intersection. It's very,
Right.
the amount of vehicles we
Park Street, straight across.
I did, yeah. I didn't
Yes.
know the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I do.
there were very few vehicles counted during the peak hours. We count the peak hours of the day when we do our turning movement counts, which typically are between 7 and 9 a.m. and 4 and 6 p.m. The actual peak hour of the operating road time is the greatest 4 15-minute periods together. As it turns out, the morning peak hour occurs, based on our turning movement counts, at 7 to 8 a.m. and at 4 to 5 p.m. So that's what we base our designs on, and this is just part of the queue going down Park Street down to Main Street. So there's an issue right now. And what we saw when we did our evaluation, the queue's 1,000 feet long. Right now, about the 900s, 1,000 feet, right? Okay, so what we looked at is we took the counts we took, turning movement counts, included the 84 spaces in the existing DCR lot. So what we did is we added the 76 spaces into the mix so that it would bring us up to the level of the 160 spaces. I had assumed that coming in or going out of the garage, 20% of the people would be taking a right out or a left towards Park Street, or 80% are coming in from Park and 20% are coming from Groton, taking a left in. There's a very heavy movement in the morning taking a left on a Groton Street. There's some 350 vehicles doing that in the peak hour, which tells me that they're either looking for a parking space or they're just avoiding downtown and the longer queue going down to Main Street. So I figured it was a good assumption to add 20% going the other direction, coming in from that direction. So what we did is we added that with 160 spaces and looked at the level of service, which is it's on a scale of A to F, A being free flow, F being completely gridlocked, based on delay for stop sign controlled, non-signalized intersection. So what we found, as you would expect, without any additional work done, just in the existing condition and adding the traffic, the delay is more. The queues were pretty similar. They were still long queues based on 25 feet per vehicle. And without doing anything, it's still pretty bad. Now, and that's at this intersection, the big intersection at Main and Park. We also looked at doing low-cost mitigation, what I call it. And that is what we can do without digging up the street, what can we do without changing curb lines. So what we looked at is, and we've got enough room to do this, is to put a dedicated right turn lane right onto Main Street and a through left lane going through onto Mill Street. It's like 5 vehicles in the peak hours, not that many. And the left turn movement onto Main Street. And what we found was the delay was much less and the queue was less during that time period. And at this intersection, during the AM.
So you're saying if you're coming down Park Street, you're going to put 3 lanes in?
2. Just before you get there, it's going to be still the same 1 lane. Then it separates just before you get to the intersection. Just so
It kind of happens naturally. We kind of do it now, but it's not striped.
It operates that way.
Right. People are sort of naturally doing that.
it operates that way.
Yeah, we always come down Park Street, take a right, turn around in Moore's Yard and go left. Everybody does, yeah.
I take Groton Street, and that's how.
Well, that's if I'm going that way.
Well, then sure.
Yeah.
How wide is that distance from the island to the curb where you're recommending they're changing the striping? What's the width of the road?
It's about 25 feet.
Okay, so it's about a 12-foot. I can't
Right.
remember.
What we've got there is
Those lanes are both 10 feet.
those are 2 10-foot lanes with the existing solid white edge lines. So we could monkey those edge lines in a little bit if we wanted to make the lanes a little more generous.
Yeah, but you're essentially not changing anything that we're already doing.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends who's in the mix of traffic.
Right.
Right.
But we already use 2 lanes.
Right. But when we look at the numbers with 2 lanes instead of 1 lane, it makes a huge difference.
Actually striping it.
Actually striping it and giving it some definition.
So they won't even delay and sort of saying, geez, can I do this or can't I? They just know, yep, I'm going.
Okay.
Turn my foot here.
Plus the bike lane.
Is this one I should ask? Are we getting lights?
Um,
And
I-
couple that.
You know,
with
I've got a good
traffic
segue
in the
into
hot
lights.
lanes.
Yeah.
There's gonna be, what is the train times? People are gonna be just,
It backs up to the road when the train comes through.
the people are just gonna be, who takes precedent? The hawk lane or the traffic or?
It's not that bad.
The Hawk always takes precedence because of
Okay,
pedestrians.
so
Always.
my question is, theoretically, starting at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, you could have one person every 10 seconds pushing that hawk lane?
I don't think so.
Is that gonna stop traffic?
It will
Or-
stop traffic. That's what it's for.
Okay, but does the Hawk Lane have a limit too? And
Well,
say,
it's-
no, we're gonna let some traffic through.
Well, it's not a hawk lane. It's a signal that stops all traffic for the crosswalk.
Okay, but, okay.
Okay,
My
so-
Same question, so if you've got a line of people,
People tend not to get to the train too early because they have to stand there. So what happens is they platoon across. You don't get every 10 seconds someone pushing a light. You might, but we can't design for that.
that was my question. So,
I thought you could design for that. I thought the technology today is you could program a delay into those fixtures so that what he says, you might cross so many people, but then you'd have a built-in delay, so it wouldn't take a signal again for like a 3-minute time frame or something like that.
I think the technology is there, but as far as
That's the future anyway.
as far as designing the actual hawk signal itself, it's a canned program.
Okay.
At this point in time, until we do final design,
Let me defer
so
this
just
by
build a
way.
bridge over the top, across Main Street and down.
Yeah, because Mark is asking what is probably better than what I was trying to say before, is there's already that huge traffic backup. And at the time that it is at its height, you're now gonna have twice as many pedestrians crossing over, and it's stopping each time.
Let me defer this by way of saying that I'd like to see, in addition to a one-line check mark of approval from the police chief as to whether or not, I think time will tell, given that we already have a policeman, say around 7:30, 6:30, directing traffic at that hour, that's probably gonna be a regular thing. Well, that's what I mean. And then I think I gotta defer to Robert and staff that question in the way of coming from the police chief as to future staffing on that issue.
Mr. Chairman, just briefly, not to interrupt Larry's flow, as you're aware, as the planning board is aware, I just want to make it clear that the intersection of Main Street and Park Street has been a perennial problem that the town is aware of for quite some time. It was given an F as an intersection by the MRPC study several years ago. Additionally, as I know the planning board can appreciate, to put in traffic lights and so forth is upwards to $1 million. Secondly, the scope of this project in terms of the improvements and the funding we have did not include, obviously, this intersection. So what we're proposing are interim improvements. Now, the intersection of Main and Park and this traffic problem is a significant problem for the town of Ayer. The DPW is actively looking at solutions. Is it a light? Is it a roundabout? And that will obviously be the next project with public discourse. Additionally, the Economic Development Office is looking to make a form-based code improvements along that piece of Park Street. So I just want the board to know, one, that it is a priority to resolve this intersection. The challenge we have is outside of the scope of this project to make those changes of that magnitude of signalization and so forth. So we're trying to propose some improvements as an interim measure.
Thank you.
One of the things that we hope to accomplish by adding 76 spaces to this location is people who park for commuter rail right now use side streets. They park on Main Street, and it's taking up spaces where merchants would rather have that impulse buyer come by and say, you know what, I really wanted to stop and do that, but I got no place to park. You're going to take 76 people, and you're going to be able to put them in this location.
How much does a hawk light, the 2 hawk lights cost?
They're probably under 100,000.
And the policeman who's there, I think the policeman works better, both for my questions.
You're gonna need 2 cops now. One
For
at the
being able to
crosswalk
stagger
and
the
one at the intersection.
pedestrians and for that safety of the people ripping out of Park Street and not seeing the hawk light till they're.
I would, through the chair, respectfully, the ultimate solution is the engineering and reconfiguration of that entire intersection.
Yeah.
in the interim, if we have to, as what you're mentioning, Ms. Kennedy, if we have to, additional police and so forth, we are willing to look at that. But there is no question, I think we can all agree, and not to get off topic, that we as a town in the region, we have to do this intersection next. I wish that the FTA scope and the FTA funding allowed us to do that. I think what we're trying to do is get this interim step for this project so then we can move on to that. Because it is not, it has a grade F rating, and we need to make the best practice change there.
Let me suggest, let's move on from the intersection question, which we know we have to address in some form going forward.
Now, just so you know, to add another, more fuel to the fire, I guess, another piece in the report, I looked at a signal there and what it does.
Yeah.
And it makes the intersection run at a level of service B with low delays and shorter queues.
And it's an F now?
It's an F now, and with this, it becomes a better F.
Like
Instead of
D?
a D plus, but there's no D plus. You know,
No, we can't.
No,
Yeah.
and keep in mind, I'm all in favor of this, I'm just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on from this, because we know that we've got to address that from many different points of view.
this is just looking at the intersection coming down, basically where the crosswalk is going to be and the hawk signals, and looking at where Main Street comes onto Park Street. The other thing we're looking at is, and there's 21 feet curb to center line right now. We're looking at an exclusive right turn lane, because that's one of the heavier movements going in Park Street, and a through left, where the left isn't very heavy going down Mill Street. When we don't do anything with the intersection, we just add the 76 vehicles without the additional mitigation of the turn lane. We've got more delays, and it's fairly similar queues, but they're still long in that area. When we look at the mitigation by, what I call low-cost mitigation, just striping, grinding up the existing ones and restriping from the double yellow center over to the curb line, and the delay is less and the queue is a lot shorter.
Until you add in the hawk lane, or the hawk light,
The
that's gonna slow things.
they're not directly related. Right now, where you've got one lane and people are vying to take a right if the person going straight is pushed over enough.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's painted to such a point where it defines where you're supposed to be. Regardless of the hawk signal, you're going to have people crossing the street from where the parking lot is over to the T. At least this way, it keeps them from going over the hood.
Given that, it seems to me on previous traffic studies, the majority of the folks that park at this facility are coming from out of town, as in west of town. Given that, they're gonna take a right on Groton Street, and that to me is the bottleneck of this whole thing, and not the right and left turns
Wait,
of Main
take a
Street.
right on Groton Street?
Yeah, coming out of the parking facility, you're at
Leave.
Groton and Park, and you
Exit.
take a right to go back to 2A toward Fitchburg, Leominster, New Hampshire.
Oh, you're talking.
Because that's where most of the traffic comes from to park here in the first place.
Well, I told you, there's very heavy movement in the morning taking a left up Groton Street,
Right, so you're talking.
No, I'm talking about,
exiting
I'm
into
talking
the-
about.
coming out.
at
but
the time
exiting
they
at PM.
Right.
Right.
For clarification, Jim, you're saying that you don't think that the impact of the additional parking spaces at the parking garage might not impact the Park Street?
It's not gonna be Park and Main, it's gonna be
People
Groton,
exiting
it's gonna be
west
Groton Street
instead of
and
east.
Park Street, it's gonna be
Right.
the problem.
And now I'm going to talk about the Groton Street intersection.
Well, that's what I mean, that to me
Right.
is the bigger problem.
So let them talk.
So this is the Groton Street
Having said that,
intersection. What we've got now is one lane each direction. We get one exiting lane, one entering lane. Where the stop line is currently, when you sit past the stop line, that wall hampers your sight distance a little bit. to the oncoming lane coming southbound, which is what you're looking at if you want to take a left. If you want to take a right, you're looking to the left to see where your gap is, and there's plenty of sight distance to the left. So what we looked at is what happens if we do the same thing at Groton and Park. If we split it up, it's very narrow, it's got that wall there, there's 30 feet. So with 3 10-foot lanes, a right turn lane coming out, a through left coming out, and a 10-foot going in. We also extended an edge line coming down to meet the existing solid white edge line on northbound. And in that location, you can see, can you point out the existing stop line? We push the stop line further down out of the intersection, so it takes some of the sight distance out, and you are able to see a little bit further in the southbound lane, so you can see where you can get your gap to take a left out of there.
I got 2 questions, but it seems impractical if I was coming from the west, going up Groton Street, that I would not cut into that center lane as they come up that street. It's just, the angle is too sharp for me to go beyond and then come up the street in the real world.
Unless there's a car sitting there.
Well, I'm talking about in the morning. Most likely in the morning, most of the cars are coming and taking a left
Well, there's still cars coming out
in the morning.
in the morning.
Okay.
There's no exclusion of cars. So there are cars coming in and out all day long.
The second question I had was, I did look at the site plans today, and it seems there's a wall, not the wall at the corner, but the wall next to
This.
the building.
Yep.
That seems to be an encroachment. That wall.
It encroaches into the turn lane, though. If it was going the other direction, it would be more of an impedance.
Okay.
So what happens is before you get there, you've only got 2 lanes still.
Okay.
The plans in the set, I think, go all the way up to do they go all the way up to the entrance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you'll see that you still have the 2 15-foot lanes coming down, and they split right at that wall where it jets out.
There's no advantage to going further up the street, pushing that wall, that retaining wall back, if it's on town land.
Well, there might be.
And it is.
There might be.
Ken, and just so for what it's worth, we're doing the form-based code, the thing you appreciate, the public right-of-way profile of the road, like we always look at the Napa, which is right here with their parking lot, and pickup trucks are hanging half in. That's all public
You can see it right
right-of-way.
there, right.
That's the
This
right
whole
of way.
parking lot in front, pretty much within 2 or 3 feet of that building plane is all, and here on this wall, that's all public right-of-way. So again, down the road in the future, someday, take it up, put us in, so that, that's gonna open up some. It's all public land, public right-of-way.
So what we found, as you would expect, is when we added the additional vehicles in, we get 20% coming out, 80% going left, 20% going right. And coming in the morning, 80% coming in from Park Street and 20% coming from Groton, just flips it around. What we found was, without doing anything, you've got more delay because there's more vehicles, and it's a similar queue, the way it works out. When we put the mitigation in, it's slightly more delay, and it's a similar queue. So what I'm actually saying is, we looked at this because we thought it would be a dandy idea, and we talked ourselves out of it, actually, just so you know. The other thing is, we found that trucks taking a right in there would be in the oncoming lane because it's too narrow. And we found that it just was, it would not work as well as if we just restripe what we have there and let it go. This is a chart that shows all the differences, the existing 2016 84 spaces, the existing 2016 geometries with the 160 spaces, and then the striping approach lane redesign, the low-cost mitigation, and then the bottom numbers are if we put a traffic signal at both installations. And you can see there's a huge difference in the signal. Level of service B. The rest, they stay, Main and Park stays level of service F. It's a better F as you do more mitigation. but it's still a level of service F. The queues are less, the delay per vehicle is less. The Park Street in Groton, still a level of service D, and it's a B in both situations with the traffic signal. Now, my opinion is the traffic signal is a better way to go, but at this point in time, I know the town is still looking at stuff. This intersection, Groton and Park, would be a bad location for a roundabout because of the difference in elevation and where the wall is going up Groton next to the parts dealer. Main Street and Park might be a good location for it. I think it will fit in there, but it has to be studied and has to be looked at more in depth. And with the town again as a partner in doing that, and I'm not sure that we would even do the work, but whoever does it would look at both, I would say, to give the town the best bang for their buck.
Theoretically, would a stoplight at Main and Park coincide with the Hawk light?
They would not interconnect at all. You could set up a signal that interconnected a pedestrian signal, it would interconnect to it.
Couldn't that kind of theoretically back up the whole intersection? If, green light coming from Park onto Main, and then the Hawk stops, so people can go by?
Well, I think that it would have to be looked at least to see the possibility for interconnection. And if it's not the Hawk, a pedestrian signal there that would be interconnected so that the two locations would act as one intersection. So that when you take a left from Park going eastbound, you would hit the green light going through at the crosswalk.
So, backing up Mark's question again, one question leads to another.
Of course.
But if we were suggesting that we might be looking at this again in the future, would that affect our decision on putting in a hot light?
We can always make it up.
Yeah.
Through the chair, to Ms. Kennedy's question, we're just in the beginning phases of addressing this whole intersection, as I mentioned. We will, when we do that intersection, of course, the planning board will play a key role in that. We will do whatever modifications we need to with the Hawk and so forth. That will be the best practice for that intersection. So in other words, when we get to the point of, say, theoretically, the solution is the signal, the traffic light, then whatever other impacts that traffic light may have on the Hawk system or any of these other improvements, if modifications have to be made, then they would need to be made. We still believe that these, based on the constraints we have, these interim measures are a small step in the right direction, but that we have to do the whole intersection.
At this time, our goal is to be able to cross people safely.
Yeah.
We're not redesigning the intersection at this time, so it's an interim stopgap measure, I would say, before the big build, if you want to call it that. Because the problem that's there now is not going to be solved or mitigated by this project. It's a much larger issue, I think.
Robert, that was an absolutely wonderful way of saying, let them finish their job.
Well, I kept thinking even years ago of the Arthur Fiedler Bridge. I mean, I don't know why that wouldn't be a pedestrian movement structure that would take them from the parking facility to the... I guess when we look at the intersection, that would certainly be something I'd bring up.
Right. I think, Mr. Chairman, that the takeaway for tonight on that, there is no question that this intersection is a priority. And that as we approach that, we would obviously want to do the best practices, best engineering, and that also that's subject to funding, because it needs to be done.
Could I just make one observation, just a big step back, big picture observation too about downtowns, and this downtown in particular. This is a very small downtown. It's only 3 blocks. long. And I'll just say, the rest of the day in this downtown, this Main Street flows. Actually, in my opinion, it flows too fast. We have a lot of tractor trailers on this Main Street, a lot of dump trucks, a lot of car care, big, heavy trucking. They, with all respect to our policemen, they can't do it. It's all right for maybe 1 hour during 24 or 2 times a day. Yeah, it's going to take you maybe 7 minutes. When all is said and done, this is what we're talking about. Even when it's kind of gridded up a lot, even if you're sitting at the top of the bridge, and I see it all the time, when it backs right up over the bridge sometimes. But if you watch it all, because I often walk there, you're through. It's also good for downtown business. Believe it, sometimes 1 or 2 hours when their cars drive, they do drive slow, because you know what you do when you're sitting in your car there in the downtown, you're going, oh, look at that storefront. I never noticed that. And gee, look at that there, and look. It's all right. That's just a big picture observation about downtown. I know we want our downtowns to be these massive free flow things. Downtowns are not meant to be that. Downtowns are the place should not be designed to get through as fast as you can. They should be designed so that you never want to leave the place and you can linger a little bit here. This is the place where the rest of our lives is everything is velocity and acceleration. Yeah? This is the one little place, these 3 blocks. Easy. Just this one little part of the day.
I need the pills that you're on, because when I'm sitting in that traffic,
I'll give you the pills.
get the hell out of my way.
I know, we all do that. I know that. This is the one that's going through here. The rest of the corridors are ripping wide open.
All right, keep going.
Let me move this along. Let me move this along by saying, is it your recommendation at this point for the park system, which is the C level of acceptance, or is it the traffic signal, the V level of acceptance? I mean, which one are you recommending it?
The Hawk signal really has no level of service to it. It's just something that comes on and off. We don't measure level of service there because there's no turning movements for vehicles.
Let me
But-
clarify. For site plan purposes, we're looking at the safety of the project. The safety of the project is clearly, as you mentioned, getting the people across the street.
Right.
So for the purposes right now, we either do nothing or we do something. What is the something that you recommend?
I would do the Hawk signal right now as an interim.
With goal,
And
of course,
restriping?
with a goal of
And restriping at Main and Park, not at Groton.
Just right now, it isn't a nothing, though. There is a police officer there during
Yeah,
the
but it's
main
not-
time that
it's not
pedestrians.
scheduled. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're not there. If they're busy,
Yeah.
they're not there.
Yeah.
You can't count on
But
it.
right now, I wouldn't
it's great when
cross,
they are there.
you're saying it's in the same place that the crosswalk is right now, is just going to be, I wouldn't cross in that crosswalk when that police officer's not there. It's not safe. The people coming around Park Street cannot see you. There's too many, they're sitting there waiting and they rip out as soon as there's a spot.
Okay, so again, to move it on, right now it's the Hawk system with the potential, of course, to improve ultimately to at least a B level
If we,
by way of traffic and or police control.
Are you done your presentation?
I'm finished. We're going on to Depot Square. but-
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, just to be clear, there is no intention to stop providing the police piece along with the Hawk. And as I mentioned, with the implementation of Hawk, if there has to be modifications, Mr. Fermani is correct. There are times that they're not able to provide that service because of calls or so forth. But I just want to make it clear that the intent is not to put the Hawk system in and get rid of the police presence. Also, we would love to do the light, and we're going to do the intersection improvement. The problem is, and we probably need about $2 to $3 million to do it, but we'll get it.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's a problem to be solved at some point. Again, the focus, Hawk system interim and ultimate B-level service.
And in the channelization,
Yeah,
the
okay.
striping changes
Okay,
that we talked about.
continue.
Thank you. Thanks, Larry. So we're going to move on to Depot Square Park. So this is, so Main Street is just off the page here. That's where the brick crosswalk area would be with the Hawk signals. You would come across, this is a sidewalk that runs along the drop-off drive and that brings you down into the plaza, and eventually this is the crossing for the commuter rail. So if I'm arriving from the garage, I'm coming down to Main Street, coming over half a block or whatever it is approximately, and then cross at the hawk signal and then down and into the space. If I'm in a vehicle dropping someone off or picking someone up, or I am handicapped, I'm able to come down. If I'm handicapped, I park here, come around the edge and up and into the space. If I'm just dropping someone off, I come around. It's wide enough to pull over to the side and allow people to stage for a few minutes while you're waiting for a train to come in. Get in your car and leave. If I'm just coming in, dropping off, I drop off and head back out.
The geometry in this, by the way, was set up so that the small LRTA buses could make it.
Mark buses.
The 29 foot.
Yeah, the shuttle buses.
Shuttle.
Right.
Now, if I'm working for Keolis, I still have to get to my service building here. They would come down. There's actually a break or a level transition as the pavement is today. They're able to come straight through and pull into their building. The actual sidewalk, there's a ADA ramp here that raises the grade up with a sidewalk, but for service access, this is all at grade. We actually provided an inlay that we're proposing that would really identify the drop-off area to encourage people to slow down within this area as people get in and out and then pull back off. These are really just decorative paving bands that pull you through the space and kind of direct you over to the commuter rail access. What you're seeing here are the rooftops or the top of shade canopy structures, and we'll get into the aesthetics of what those really look like. There is a fence that would run along the property line to prevent people from making that move. And once you get to this corner here, you're able to come in. There would also be a fence that runs along to approximately right about here to prevent vehicles from coming in. This is actually a raised planter, so a portion of it would actually be a cast-in-place concrete wall to prevent vehicles from coming in. There is, due to pedestrian movements, and there is a easement access required or granted. This is an open break between the fence to allow for emergency vehicles. We did meet with the police department and the fire department. This is their recommendation and preference to keep this open. No gates, no bollards for emergency access. If there's an emergency access, they don't want to have to even think about it, regardless of which direction they're coming in. My understanding is, if they have to get across the tracks, this is their preferred movement. There is as Alyssa mentioned earlier, proposed restroom building, and we can get into the looks of that and what that would entail. There would be convenience bike racks with underneath another canopy structure, and then along there, this is a seat wall with some built-in benches, as you can see here, and there's better imagery. But there's also a wall along the commuter rail to prevent people from really making that movement. And then we would put in also to help keep the traffic or cars from making that movement and provide some shade and soften the parking lot effect, some trees within this paved area. How do I advance? There we go.
Who maintains the facility building?
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, the bathroom facility was required by the state for the purposes of transferring the rail trail lot to the town. The restroom facility will be maintained by Mark, and there's a whole plan that we've put together that involves the changing of all of the bathroom supplies and so forth. Mark uses this service throughout their line. So the town personnel will not be responsible. It will be maintained by a service.
Okay.
So this is just a little bit closer view, enlargement.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. When can we start to ask questions? I guess that's my concern.
Well,
Before we
you've
keep going.
indicated you'll take questions.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime.
Back up to the first slide, please. The first question I have is the total scope of what you've drawn, is that the total area that's owned by the town?
Yes.
Yes.
It is, so those, your work line, the edge of your new work. So we don't own the balance of that parking lot beyond that line that's going across.
We
That's
are
Keolis.
pretty much using
Yeah.
the entire available space.
Okay, so that includes the fence line that's going towards the
So,
medicine shop and whatnot.
so
The
The
lot,
pro-
I'm trying to figure out where the lot lines
Yep.
are.
yep, so the property line comes down
That's how I understand it.
and then comes in, corner,
Right
across,
there.
notches, over,
Okay, so that's it.
and then back out.
The reason I mentioned that was because I have a concern with the fact that we have the handicap spaces in the parking garage, such a distance from the station, and only 2 handicap spaces here. So I was trying to, kind of hopeful that there was a way to put more handicap parking here, taking a couple away from the garage, or if there's a requirement in the garage, maybe we can't change that. But it seemed impractical to only have 2 spaces right near the station. But if we're stuck with the land and that's all we can do, then that's what we have to do.
Are those handicap spots for permanent parking or just drop off and delivery?
Permanent park.
They're convenient for
So
accessible.
they can park there, they can leave the car there and
Mhm.
jump on a train and be there all day?
Mhm.
Right.
I wouldn't agree with that.
So there's no chance of getting, I guess you looked at it.
Mhm.
It's,
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Diskin's question, the Board of Selectmen had quite a bit of discussion with Larry and Alyssa and Mark about that point,
All right, all right.
and we really would like to maximize it. The challenge we have, as Alyssa mentioned, this is what we
that's all
have.
you have, okay,
Yeah.
that's all my question. The other question I have, I've got a real concern with the discussion that you made about leaving that opening in the fence for the emergency vehicles. I just don't understand why anyone else would not just drive in there, unless there was some kind of curbing or bollards. It could be, I mean, I've built situations like this where we put in large granite bollards that were pretty heavy, but could be moved in pretty quickly by the fire department.
We had a meeting, back in, I don't know, October, and we sat at this table and met with the police chief,
Yeah, okay.
the fire chief, and it was, I think at that time, actually, the whole thing was fenced in.
Correct.
And they requested specifically to have a 24
Minimal.
foot minimum opening to allow emergency vehicles through.
But would they allow a lockbox gate?
Why wouldn't it have
To be
a
put on
sliding gate or lock
I think
box
they
or-
wanted the opportunity to come, I mean, I guess you could have any kind of at the train station, whether it be the actual trains or not, but they need to get there quickly.
I
It was
think
the
what we're
message
talking
I
about
heard.
is the opportunity for a pedestrian in their vehicle to drive in there if they
Mhm.
wanted to.
Yeah, I mean,
And there's
So-
nothing stopping them.
They
exactly.
can come down the road to the same as anyone else, right
Correct.
there, or they can come down between the 2 buildings and straight in.
Mhm.
I can see where they wouldn't want to turn the apparatus and whatnot across the site.
Right.
And I
can
agree
look
they
at
should have access, but
Right.
I just feel that that's going to be an eyesore, number one, to get this opening. Everyone's going to want to go through there. It should be for pedestrians.
I think that's something we can look at.
Well, the property owner is not allowing the access between the 2 buildings, right?
No, we said they were.
So, Mr. Chair, excellent point, just for everybody's refresher. The MBTA is maintaining their easement. They have an easement until 2063. The easement, unlike in many instruments which would clearly spell out a specific easement, it is a general easement across all of the Berry property. So, though the intent of this project is to safely channel folks to the platform, individuals can still go across that property,
With vehicles.
Mhm.
even with vehicles. There's nothing,
Okay, I thought that was in court, but that's okay.
it is. I mean, it's being challenged. I mean, respectfully, it's being challenged, but the MBTA, as we sit here right now, the easement is legally in effect.
Okay.
And the MBTA has indicated to the town they intend to maintain it.
Okay, that's what I needed
Yeah.
to know. Thank you.
So this is just a little bit zoomed in. So once again, these are the shade canopies. There would be some low vegetation on the backside, some shade trees to kind of soften the space, reduce the heat island effect. There would be a ornamental decorative fence that kind of minimizes, as we've already started that discussion, but would really define that edge to prevent cars from doing that movement. And then this would be approximately an 18 to 24 inch raised planter with seats on top underneath the canopy, one actually out in the sun should you wish to sit in the sun. Some columnar ornamental trees here for shade, and then some trees along this edge too to soften that edge. We have the bike racks and a trash receptacle here. This is the restroom building. The bike rack would be underneath a small canopy here, particularly for help kind of with the winter conditions. In general, the material is a scored concrete, but with a decorative precast concrete paver inlay. That's at least what we're looking at currently. There's been much discussion about this fountain. We're providing space right here in the middle for that relocation.
What is that fountain? Tell us about it.
That's an EWO, right?
Alan's,
So,
What's your landscape? Tell me.
I'm sorry?
What is about it? What's the deal with that fountain?
What's the deal with it?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, I know there's
we
a.
don't.
It's a little fountain.
Yes.
So you guys design fountains too?
No, we're gonna move
Well,
it.
it's an old
How come
plan.
it looks like the
It's
All right,
an
I'll
old-
stop.
The shade, the sun is a different shape on the forward one than the back?
It's a different time of day.
Well, no. In reality, this was done and you'll see in a minute. This is a 3D view in a minute, but the sun is coming from this direction, so the shade is actually being pushed back in that direction, and projected out in that direction.
And just to finish, my being the wise guy, just so you folks know, that is the historic fountain.
Yes, correct.
That was the focal
Correct.
point of our depot square. It is now sitting down by the rotary. It was moved there in the 60s, all when we destroyed our downtown depots. So this magnificent historic heritage fountain that was our fountain for this will be coming back home to where it was originally designed and meant to be.
And Mr. Chairman.
That's the WCTU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Women's Christian Temperance Union.
That's the one out here.
It's gonna have a pipeline right to Collins.
Mr. Chairman,
That's what you like, Mr. Chairman.
one of the things for the planning board on this plan here, and it just came up this evening from Alan in the Economic Development Office, we're requesting instead of a 6-foot-high metal picket fence, a 4-foot, and the significance is we want to get away from like the Berlin Wall mentality with Alan could.
Don't put 6-foot
Right.
fences in your urban space in a downtown like this.
So just, we're
The
looking.
fences make good neighbors.
Right.
Not in downtowns and not in public spaces like this.
So, that was just
Okay.
one last minute proposal we're looking at.
So here's a bird's eye view looking down into that space to kind of give a little bit of context. The canopies themselves would allow for emergency vehicles to go underneath them.
Just out of curiosity, these are only shade, right?
Correct.
Slatted?
Yep, they're slatted.
There's no rain protections?
Not currently at the moment. We're working with a canopy manufacturer. Depending on where the budget ends up, if we can make it work, we'll definitely make it work.
Is Mark going to do anything on the platform itself?
Mr. Chairman, through you to the planning board, the actual platform, hence why we're doing this project, is to set the stage, obviously, for the handicap accessible platform in the future.
Okay.
That being said, the MBTA has indicated to the town and Mark and to the Board of Selectmen at that request, we're putting over $4.2 million in improving the parking and access to their platform. They have indicated they will make interim improvements to the platform. Now, interim, and Alan has been working on this, of cleaning it up, better coverage is what's out there. I mean, I think we can all agree, even interims, they can do a better job, and they know that. So
Right.
the Board of Selectmen, specifically the chairman, is really holding them to that. So
Good.
There will be some improvements, cost borne by the MBTA to the platform.
Thank you.
I might grab some of my old, my grandmother's grapevines I have in my yard, and we'll grow them. I'm not kidding. And then we can do urban foraging, so people can sit there and pick grapes, and eat them, and just hand out.
So this is a,
Is there lighting?
oh, there is lighting, yes. And
Okay,
you'll,
so it's
I'll,
not on the, okay.
it's in the plans we've provided as part of the submission. This would be an example of the restroom facility that would be provided. It's approximately, I think, 12 by 24, but basically allows for 2 bathrooms. One is handicap accessible. This is just really all for the guts and plumbing of the building itself. This is what we're kind of looking to do as design intent or our precedent images, materiality, colors, textures. In reality, it would be an inlay of precast concrete pavers within a field of concrete. We just find that from a maintenance standpoint and snow removal, if you have a large field of precast pavers, inevitably they will fail, whereas with an inlay you tend to have more protection. So these would be kind of the style of the light, something low, pedestrian scale, 15 feet tall, 12 to 15 feet tall, and the image on the left here would be more in style with that ornamental fence along the perimeter.
Where are you going to put the brook?
Well, funny you should ask. So, as part of our own stormwater mitigation within the plaza area, we actually are proposing breaks within the planter wall, and it would serve as kind of our overflow / rain garden area. There's overflow inlets at these locations. We're keeping all the water within the plaza area. Within the plaza area, we're not running off to other people's property.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that with the site lighting drawing, the site lighting shown on the drawings you submitted before today, or are they just coming in?
No, they were on there previously, but they weren't in these graphics, but they are on the plans.
So can you just without looking at the drawing, can you give me an idea of the count, how many of those fixtures might be in a plaza that size?
I believe we are currently showing I believe it's 4. But taking a step back, within the plaza itself, I believe it's 4, but they're also all along this entire walkway.
So the walk is like-
Yes.
That's good.
And then there would be lighting on the building itself.
Can you back up to the
Yep.
building? So that wall pack that's on the building,
That's just a standard image from the manufacturer. This is a prefab building. It basically shows up on the back of a pallet, gets craned into place. We do provide the footing and foundations and the plumbing for it, but it's all designed in sync with this manufacturer. We can upgrade the lighting as we see it. Yep. Yeah, this is just a standard stock image, but you have the ability to upgrade the lighting to whatever you want. You can really change any of the materials.
Yeah, we're in preliminary design right now, but
Okay.
we would work with you guys on all of that stuff.
Right. These are kind of, we're working with the manufacturer to work on the shade canopies.
What is the material of these?
So they can be, right now we're looking at steel structure with wood slats on top. The next image I'm going to show you is all steel, but we would swap out the slats on top for wood instead of the steel itself. But this is a similar style. Ours actually has the angle. We find that to be a little bit more interesting than more of a trellis look here. So, and this is the one for the bike rack area. And that's
Is
it.
that shade proposition up for debate? You know, if you look at Main Street at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's one very bright place. And I, quite frankly, even from that photo, I fail to see the shade.
That's why I was asking, I'd rather see it enclosed,
Right.
to
I mean-
give some rain support, snow.
The sun hits down
Can
on
we
here.
have a slide so we can look at the.
Don't forget, people also stand out there. We're New England in the winter and cold, and it feels very good when the sun is on you. Keep you
Yeah,
warm
the,
sometimes.
Where you can step out
Thank you.
and stuff.
that just doesn't measure up to my
Touche,
idea of
Mark.
providing shade.
Is there,
That's
would we get a, since predominantly the direction is from south to north, I presume someone could look into the fact you could change the direction of the slats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to-
I mean, I look at that like I'd look at lighting. If you had
I think-
insufficient
I
lighting,
think
I
we're
would say,
overthinking this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
you gotta provide shade.
It's
from the
actually,
sun.
it's actually east to west.
Right.
That-
it's
that
east to
doesn't
west right
cut it,
now.
so-
So,
No, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
It's gonna work, it's much
Can
better
you
than.
slant the slats just a little bit?
Can we rotate?
I think is.
put them on a timer?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think we should put solar
There you
panels
go.
on, actually.
Retractable.
Hey, there's.
Light the whole site.
Go ahead, Rob, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
as Brandon mentioned, this is still under preliminary
Okay.
design. Part of it is
I want to
also,
put a big asterisk by that.
yeah, part of it's also driven by cost because
Yeah.
there was a
Okay.
lot of debate about it being a cover as opposed to the slats. And also commuters brought up at the public hearings about having side shields on it. So
Yeah.
we do realize that in working with them, we're not quite there yet, but you can see where we're headed conceptually.
Okay.
Points well taken.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean, even at the school, for example, you know, you look at the school bus drop-offs and, you know, they've got adequate from inclement weather. So anyway, that's my one comment on that. Okay,
Thank you.
further comments from the board at this point?
Wonderful.
I'd like to
I have comments.
take a look at, who had a comment?
I do.
Sue, go ahead.
Is the men's room is like 50% larger than the women's room?
One is handicap.
One's handicap accessible.
One's handicap accessible.
Probably
Which
not.
one?
I think it's,
It can, I think it can.
This is
really
just
be-
this is just a sample floor plan.
Okay.
that could be unisex.
They could be unisex. This is just straight, literally, this is a cut sheet that they sent us. This is the
So that's-
kind of what we're
that's
basing our
good.
design on, but one would be handicap, whether or not it's men's, women's, or unisex, that is all interchangeable.
I
Okay,
think
so they
realistically
wouldn't
it would
both
probably be
they wouldn't
unisex.
both be
I think they would
handicapped?
realistically be.
I'm sorry?
Yes, that gets, every question leads to another. They wouldn't both be handicapped?
It's a cost thing,
It's a cost, so the building would have to get larger.
much larger.
Well,
I think
So-
we're looking at unisex bathrooms. I think if we're gonna
Yeah.
have one that's,
Yeah.
one that has is handicapped accessible, you have to make them both unisex.
Huh?
that's showing that it complies, the one on the right. It's got the wheelchair and the
Right.
5 foot radius, it complies the way.
Right,
Correct.
right.
Doesn't, we gotta move on.
Okay, further questions from the board?
I have, we spent a lot of time on crossing the street, we spent a lot of time on the Depot Square side, but we almost spent no time on the parking garage side. Very brief description. So one of my biggest questions, actually, or my two main questions were, the site lighting right now over there is none. And there's none on the walk, basically, I don't believe, from like the corner of Lagos' store as you walk down to the existing parking lot. And I noticed on the drawings that there's a void on your drawings, there's a gap between the two areas. Are we addressing any of the site lighting beyond between the garage and Main Street? And it's the safety of that distance. In addition, so far that I didn't hear any discussion of any landscape plan for the garage area as well, other than what's existing. There's been a lot of time spent clearly across the street, but when we do the work on the garage, are we proposing to insert landscape drawings for the parking garage side as well?
No, it's all asphalt.
It's-
But we have
That's what it is now.
No, it's.
a fairly small opportunity to provide landscaping in this area here, and that's something that we will be developing.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are outfitting most of the available space, which is what is happening right now. As far as site lighting goes, there will be wall packs, decorative lighting to be determined along the outside face of the wall along the bike path.
There are 3 fixtures in the lower lot. as
And
you
we'll
come
be
up off Front
providing
Street.
site lighting as well on the inside of the structure as well. So we will be providing lighting. Is it fully designed at the moment? No, but it will be lit appropriately.
But the question is, from the garage down to Main Street, are we doing lighting? We have
We have
not
not proposed it at
proposed
this
lighting
time.
at this time.
We need to do
I
that.
think we have to look at that.
Right, but I mean, we can do that.
Two things I'd like to see happen then is let us coordinate as a board again with, if you choose to, personally, I've walked the site many times from my other opportunities on this project, but I invite you to get with Mark and do a site walk to get a really full understanding of the plan. And if you would, Mark, January what for our next continuance of?
January 4th is the next regularly scheduled meeting of the
Is that
planning
something
board.
everyone can meet, January 4th? Continue the public hearing on this site plan, or continue the site plan review, I should say.
Right, Mr. Chairman, point of process here. The planning board should officially accept the plan for consideration before continuing. The plan
Yeah,
is not
that's why I want
accepted.
to know if we
Oh.
can meet in January. Is January 4th an acceptable date to,
I'm good.
Yes, but,
I understand.
No, it's a procedural question.
yeah, I was just gonna ask that tonight the plan be accepted for consideration.
I
and then
understand. And that is allowed. Okay, that said then, I need a motion then to accept the plan as presented and continue the site plan review for January 4th.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Yeah.
Unanimous. Any closing comments?
Are we setting this for January 4th?
Four.
Okay, 6:15?
That's correct. Now, to that end, further on in our discussions as a board, I want you to think about 6:15 being the appropriate time for the meeting. I dare say that it's working so far, so,
Fine, with me.
Fine with me.
okay.
If you tell me 6:15, I'll be here at 6:30.
Okay,
So tell me 6:30.
okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for presenting
Very nice
the work that you do.
Thank you.
Robert, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again on this matter on January 4th at 6:15. As again, I appreciate your indulgence tonight with amendments to our agenda, but I will try and get you up front on the agenda so we continue this
Beautiful.
in a positive
Thank you.
way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item next on our,
Need to reject my
yeah, go ahead.
home drive. Am I gonna do anything fatal to this? If
I don't
do
think
it
so.
properly?
There might be a way to shut this,
Sometimes you have to,
Maybe where it says thumbnails, would that eject it?
sometimes you have to hit
Yeah,
eject.
Over there where it says thumbnails now, you.
yeah, I don't know why
remove
they're
it?
not out there. There will be.
I just don't wanna.
Third from the bottom, thumbnails, so that,
oh, first off, close
Yeah.
these two. Then, oh,
The
right,
right click thing?
right, click.
Rather than have people try to walk down.
I think you can just.
Yeah,
pull
you're
it out.
actually, now you're good, yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
Thought that maybe,
Yep.
okay, if it's
thank you.
Thank you.
Ah,
And
yes.
there's
thank
no,
you very much.
there's no elevator.
No, okay.
There's two.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Same to you.
See you
Same to
next
you.
year.
You too.
Okay, for consideration on the agenda is our filming in air question. I have actually received, Heather's not here and I didn't see it in my packet, but there is a document floating within, from a concerned citizen as to the process. And again, I just ask you to give this consideration. I know we ran late this evening, or a bit longer than usual. But filming in air needs to be addressed, I believe, in some parameters.
By the planning board.
By the planning
What kind of, how would
Well,
we
for
zone
example,
for?
if a resident in a residential neighborhood makes a contract with a filming company to make a movie, then that's going to affect the
Isn't that a
residential neighborhood.
permit?
It has to comply with zoning. You can't just pull, doing something different.
I think the question needs to be addressed.
Could I provide you some information, Mr.
Certainly.
Chairman, about, as we've been very involved with
Right.
with the film companies and
What's being done, what's being feedback?
yes, right. And you're right, this past year, we had well, it came, as I say, Hollywood discovered Ayer, especially this past year. Starting in the spring, they filmed in the downtown, the Spruces and the Pines, independent film. The one I think that triggered a lot of this concern in June, July, they filmed, Sony and Screen Gem Productions filmed Slender Man, a horror movie. They filmed it up at the school, but I think right where it came, they filmed at a home on 3rd Street, embedded right in the neighborhood. They used that house. And they were filming, as a matter of fact, there's some of these scenes between midnight and 4 a.m. In pretty tight, historic, dense neighborhoods. And so, of course, there had to be they had the fog machines and horrible, horrific. Well, I guess we'll see it all. It's coming out in May of 2018. And then right now, Castle Rock, Stephen King and J.J. Abrams, they're filming the television. And I was contacted this week by 2 film location scouts. They may be filming at the courthouse, some scenes, and they were looking for other sites. So going into last year, we myself working with Carly Antonellis, we did do research on other communities that have actually formal applications. That have to be that whoever's going to be filming in this town, you must come forth first, contact our office. And all this, by the way, if you go on our municipal website, there's now a whole place saying, here is our local filming application and process. So we've, had that first application. We went through that interface with both of these companies, and that was our first time, because this is all new to us. As much as I like saying I've seen and done and all this stuff, this is all new to me as well. The application is quite good. You can see it right online, okay? And then in that we actually have a review process so that the police department, the fire department, myself, community economic development, Charlie Schultz as well, our code enforcement officer. This is submitted, and the way I've been doing, we actually have little meetings on this. Okay, this is the company now, and we all sit and have feedback and this type of stuff. We want to know, are you using pyrotechnics? Will there be artificial, gun fire? Or, these are the police and fire especially.
Let me frame it this way.
Yeah,
Do you feel at
and
this point, based on your experience in the last year or two,
Yeah,
and again, the area is becoming more and more popular.
and it's going to, it's going to expand.
Do you feel there's a need for the planning board to do anything in regard to specific zoning?
We need to, I think we need, especially from my experience watching, especially when they go into these neighborhoods, all right, I think we do need to have more robust, extensive standards about really saying, if you're going to go into this neighborhood, like one thing I was shocked at when they were in that neighborhood, they had large tractor trailers.
Right.
This is all the equipment, just the equipment. You have maybe 70 people on these crews. It's huge, and all their vehicles.
Are there already laws that, about
all right.
commercial equipment usage in residential after?
I think we're a little thin with ours.
Of 9 and 5, and running.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have a truck running for more than 5 minutes.
There are things like that.
And there's noise levels
Yes.
that by the state.
Yeah, decibel levels, and that. So all that, but what I think we need to do, you're right, it's all sort of out there, and we need to bring it together and craft it right around this particular, because you're right, even I'm looking at it saying, well, what are they doing out there, actually? They're running, it's a commercial operation. It's a business. They're going out into these areas. And so it's one thing when they say, we're filming up at a school institution thing, but when they say, we're going into this neighborhood, and by the way, they tend to like the older historic neighborhoods when they do this. They're not after the more modern suburban. They like going into, you live in the fabric of these. So I think I'd like to put together maybe a round table. I think a forum would be interesting.
maybe with some representatives of the zoning board of appeal, because this gets into zoning, frankly, too. Oh, yeah.
Because I'm thinking.
It gets into use issues and all those,
Plus you want a permitting process. And
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody's neighborhood where they would want them out in well, Slender Man, with the
Right.
screaming and the fog going and.
they were trying, but I'll say what, which is amazing, they put, because they were running a generator out there, and it was, Ron DeFilippo, who is a member of our planning board, and he lived right across the street from this where they did this. And I went, so Ron, I spent quite a bit of time out there, and he was sort of my guy right there and report, and he said, Alan, I'll tell you what, and I'll say this, by the way, about all the companies we've dealt with this past year, they're exceedingly professional. They are exceedingly excellent communications. I mean, these are not fly-by-night operators. These are highly sophisticated, highly funded. I mean, these are multi-million-dollar productions. So they have their stuff together, and they don't want to get involved. And by the way, it's highly unionized as well. All these film crews have very strict union guidelines about how they and what these crews. So, yeah.
Well, my goal here tonight is to.
I agree with you, though. We need to.
Agree that we perhaps task our town planner
Yeah.
to craft a set of parameters in conjunction with the economic director that works for the town as a whole.
And I'd be more than happy to put together a roundtable group in a forum when we can all do it. And yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be refined and
I
improved.
agree. And meanwhile, let's give our input to Mark.
Yes, yes,
And/or
yes.
our economic director to that end. And that will at least address any issues, as I've gotten, again, a letter from a concerned resident specifically to that.
Yeah.
Somebody's making a movie at 4 a.m. across the street.
Yes. And we need to decide as a town, and there might be a situation where say, you know what, our town, we don't want anyone filming here between midnight and 4 a.m. So if you need to find a site, but that gets in there, because I'll say the other side is, it's been a very beneficial economic impact. The folks who,
Need a motion?
sorry,
No, I don't
there
think
is.
so. I think
One of the guys will become a
we'll continue to agenda
It will.
the issue as we go forward. I
Someday.
would like
That's
to
right.
see it
hopefully
in our
not
final
Slender Man house.
bylaw.
That house will always be known now as the Slender Man House.
As to, again, the application process. And if in fact the selectmen or the permitting agency of this is covering the task, then that's the answer.
And I'll tell you, Mr. Chairman, you're quite right. This is not going to stay or diminish. It's going to keep growing, because New England Studios has really come into its own finally now, and I've been told by others, this studio, because Boston is just getting too intense and tight, it's affordable, so it's going to keep going and going. Yes, and we're right here in the right in the middle of it. Just like Fort Devens, you see, it's just another thing that it's all of a sudden, oh, wow, we got to live with this thing now, because there it is.
Alan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all. Very good.
Okay, on to town planner update. Mark, take it away.
Okay. One of the tasks that they described that I would be tackling in my early few months here is updating the planning board rules and regulations, which cover everything from, when meetings occur to how meetings should occur to what sort of plans the planning board reviews. And I discovered in the course of my research that there is an existing, it's called operating procedures. It goes back to 2001. And it describes, a fair amount of detail, preparation for meetings, how you set the agendas, how public hearings are conducted, also the various steps that are involved in site plan review, approval not required plans, and subdivision plans. My feeling is that, though there's a lot of good information in the 2001 procedures, it isn't adequate to the whole scope of things that the planning board should be concerned with. So to that end, I did some research in other towns as to what rules and regulations they had to govern their operations, and I found a few good examples. Namely, Framingham and Lexington have, in my view, excellent set of regulations. And so I drafted a set of regulations for Ayer, which I won't go through in detail tonight, but I wanted to bring that to people's attention. This is something that we could hopefully adopt early in 2018. And Sue Kennedy met with me yesterday to describe that in the last few months There was, before I came on, there was a little bit of an effort with the previous planning board administrator to start revising these procedures, but it never was completely finalized. So what I'd like to do is take some of the, in her view, the procedures that describe how A&Rs are conducted and site plans and special permits and everything, bring those into what I had crafted for the board tonight, and then present that at a future planning board meeting.
Excellent, yeah, single source document, if you will.
Yes. So if people would like to review the document that I hope was submitted in time for tonight's meeting, dated February 1st, 2018 at the bottom, we could discuss that
Okay,
at one of our future meetings.
okay. I'm going to ask you to excuse me a minute. Carry on, but I just
Oh.
gotta
Yes.
make a quick
This was provided to us by Heather, I believe, right?
Yes.
Because I've got the electronic
Yes.
version of,
Yes.
actually, that's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's my copy from when we were working. My concern, particularly when I got Heather's, was rules and regulations are the laws, the legal scope,
Right.
where we had, and it looked like that was going to replace operating procedures, which is, particularly for somebody who's new on the planning board, this is what you do with an A&R. So you're asking the right questions, doing the right homework. A site plan review requires these steps have this ready, and that I think both have some value.
Right. So what I started to do is to take some of the procedures for the conducting of business at a site plan hearing, say, and I will bring those into the wider set of regulations that govern everything that the planning board does.
In the
And so I
meantime, can
think-
I get a copy of that?
This? Yes, yes. I will photocopy it for you and have it ready for tomorrow.
I got a
Copy in-
That's a new one, but the old one.
Oh,
Right.
You
the old one.
didn't Heather send that out?
She did send it after the regular packet went out, because I think she had to scan it. It didn't
Okay,
exist
you
electronically.
didn't get that?
Oh, okay,
I got the packet, one email,
okay.
and then the attachment on the second email.
Right, but I can make a copy for you and have it ready for tomorrow or next week.
That's
So
okay.
you can come in. But yeah, I think it's important that the planning board have a good set of procedural rules to go by.
Carry on.
Okay, and I did prepare a very short presentation for solar zoning, which I probably take 10 minutes if people are still willing to discuss that.
Well, I actually like to take these documents and digest them. I mean, certainly, we're moving forward. That's
Yes.
now, is this your final draft or your first
Oh,
draft? or-
No, I don't anticipate it will be final.
Okay.
So the presentation can be held off to a future meeting. If
The
you'd
goal
like.
here, I think, is March, is it not? For
Yes. The
And we
plan
close
is
the
to
hearing
have,
on the bylaw update.
right,
So
the plan is to have both the
we've only got
base,
January, February, so again, when I
Right.
say provide your input.
right.
we're gonna do
And
that
I have a
pretty
few
quick.
developments that I wanted to share with the board, and an invitation to a workshop next week as well.
Oh, good.
So the plan is, March 19th will be the town meeting vote on the base zoning bylaw
Right.
that Judy Barrett prepared, and that we're refining in-house. We've
Yeah.
discovered a few things that we would like to tweak and improve. And so I've set up a series of public information sessions, the first of which will be on Wednesday, January 17th.
Okay.
And the plan is for it to be in the Great Hall. And at that meeting, I will give a PowerPoint presentation on the features of the new bylaw, compare it to
That'll
the
be in the way of a
existing bylaw.
workshop for us?
Yeah, workshop for the planning board as well as for the general public.
Okay.
That will be
Well,
voting.
as
on.
in a continuation of the public hearing?
It'll be independent of the public hearing.
Okay,
It
so
could-
let's
it
call
could
it a
be-
workshop.
Yes, it's a workshop. It could be technically part of the public hearing if the planning board wants.
Later on, let's
but,
make it the workshop.
right.
Good, good.
It's the workshop, so it's 7 PM on Wednesday, January 17th. I'll be giving that workshop up in the Great Hall, and hopefully we'll have a fairly good turnout. And and that would be a chance for the public
Well, let's
to.
post that, because
Oh,
we
yes.
certainly want to be in attendance.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And also, I was talking to Judy Barrett regarding some of the tweaks that we're making, and she will be getting me a slightly updated version once we're finished going through the bylaw.
Okay.
But because several of the members of the planning board are new, and because I had some additional questions, I thought it would be a good idea to invite her out for a daytime meeting that would be informal.
I gotta check the budget on that one. We don't
Okay.
have too much left in the way of our budget.
I'm not sure she would charge.
I'm not gonna charge.
She's not gonna charge,
Ooh,
no. And
by
so
all
we have,
means, invite her.
yeah, so we have a tentative date of next Friday, December 15th. She would be able to come here for 1 PM to meet with any planning board member who would, want
Okay,
to
what day
attend
is
a
that?
daytime meeting. A Friday,
Next Friday.
Well,
next
let's
Friday,
not leave it open-ended. I mean, we need to be,
yes. And
Together.
because, in case there's a quorum of the board, we would need to post it.
well, I would,
Just as a
I
public
want to
meeting.
post it,
Yes.
because, yeah.
Yes. So, I told her I would bring it up to the board tonight.
This is a
and if there was-
monumental
Yes.
achievement we're about to
So if there's interest, then
realize.
we will do this. Yeah.
bylaw updates. So.
Yes. And I think it's important for planning board's questions to go to Judy early,
Right.
so that by the time I prepare the presentation for
Yeah.
January 17th and incorporates.
Well, let's all the questions go to Mark first. I'll go through you.
Right.
Or me to you, actually.
Yes.
To Judy. You're the single point of contact other than myself for
Mhm.
Judy. You know what I mean by that. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, single source. Yeah, I mean, we need to get this thing done. This has been going on for the better part of 10, 15 years. I mean, bylaw updates. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
How close are you to your review of the comparison of the existing to the new?
I would say about 3/4 through. So I, anticipate that, in the next few weeks, we'll be able to finish off our internal review, get comments to her so that she can give us the final version.
Yeah. Certainly, I appreciate you seeing any of this one-on-one as that goes forward.
Yes.
I have a question again. How do we get to see Mark one-on-one? Do we have a procedure? Do we just call or what's?
Yeah, well, no,
It'd be
that's,
fine, yeah, dropping in is okay, but I prefer a little bit of notice in case I'm in the middle
yeah,
of a
I'm the
report
only
or
one that
something,
gets
so
away with dropping in.
just call me or email me and say, I'd like to stop by at such and such a time, and most times it'll be fine. If for some reason I'm at some other meeting, I'll say, how about 3 PM instead of 1 PM or something.
Yeah.
But, if
But
you
as
just
a
give me
member
a
of the
little bit of a
board, we
heads up.
can meet with
Yeah,
him
schedule,
individually.
yes,
ask questions.
again, that's what I mean,
Yes.
provide your input to them, and however you do that, whether it's email or one-on-one, but set that up through him.
Good.
Yep, I welcome, we had a good meeting yesterday to go over the procedures.
Yeah. But again, I think the goal is in February to be ready for March.
Yes,
And
definitely.
then when we go before town meeting, we really have to be ready.
So what is Friday?
Friday, December 15th, will be a chance to ask technical questions about the bylaw to Judy Barrett.
What time?
1 PM. And that could be either in this room or upstairs, I'm not, depending on the.
Well, let's
availability of the
schedule it.
Yes,
Try for this room.
try for
Again,
the
we want
selectmen's
to
room. Yep,
let the people know
It's
what we're
available.
working on.
it is.
Use
Okay.
this room, we'll book it.
Yep,
Carly will book it.
okay.
Any further questions on town planner update?
This is solar. I dropped off the Concord solar bylaw,
Yes,
which, did you get a chance to?
yes, it looks
Read
very
that.
good. In fact, I'd like
It's
to.
much more complete, both in encompassing and in detail, and has got all
Right.
the. I had looked at a number of different towns, we worked on this last winter, that had pieces of what I was looking for, and
Mhm.
Concord seemed
Right.
to have it all.
Yes,
Did you look at Shirley? Shirley passed it.
Oh, did they?
The reason I mention that is because some of the projects that have occurred in Ayer occurred previously to Shirley.
Same company?
Mhm.
So the history of
Oh.
tracking it is kind of in
Okay.
the same
Yep.
venue. They had the same issues of open space conflicts, they had the same issues of whatever they might be, they seem to have come up in Shirley just a little bit ahead of us. So there might be some strength in the bylaw that they
Okay,
got
good.
passed at their town meeting. I
Okay.
think it was the fall special town meeting.
Sure.
They might have passed it.
And the way I'd like to approach the whole solar issue is to have the base zoning bylaw for solar, which has the meat of the requirements and basically, you know, where each scale of solar operation can occur, where we want to allow small, medium, and large-scale operations. And then to have a little bit more detail in regulations, which the board can adopt after a public hearing and which can be amended from time to time, depending on how things work. That'll cover landscaping, screening, you know, the more soft, I guess you could say, parameters of a solar operation to be more in the regulations. So I would like to divide up the solar treatment into a bylaw component, which would be voted on at the same night as the entire bylaw, and the regulations, which would go into, like I mentioned, the landscaping and screening and other issues, lighting.
Which
Now,
would
while we
go-
have
would
Robin in the
go where?
room, I
That would be
believe-
in regulations, which would essentially be part of our site plan regulation packet. There would be a subcomponent for solar.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know.
And why, again, because I've seen other towns doing this as part of their bylaw, how would this be superior?
It gives the planning board a chance to amend it more frequently. When you do regulations, there's also a greater ability to waive or modify the regulations than a bylaw. Usually if you want to do something that is not written in the bylaw, you need either a special exception or a variance. But if it's in the regulations, it's more easy to waive and modify and tweak those within the meeting itself and for each particular application.
How would this be affected with, like, the argument that we got for Air Solar 2, which is you don't have a bylaw that says it, so it says we can't, so we can't, and you can't stop us?
Oh, no, we're gonna have a bylaw.
Mr. Chairman,
There will be a zoning bylaw for solar. There will be a bylaw component, which is the meat and potatoes, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then there'll be regulations which implement, you know, essentially is how do you implement the bylaw? And we'll go
Okay.
into more detail about landscaping and components like that. Because if we get one application, we decided that the way we wrote landscaping needs to be beefed up or changed a little bit, we can do that at the next planning board meeting after, you know, proper notice. Regulations can be amended by the
Okay.
planning board without vote of town meeting, which is a big advantage.
Okay, Ken, follow up?
yeah, Mr. Chairman, there's a kind of, and I've mentioned this with Robert in the room, because he may have a little feedback too. There's an overriding issue that happens in the town of Ayer and other towns when we voted to become a green community. At that particular point, when you become a green community, if you did vote, you have the option of regulating under the solar bylaw section, the location and the rules and regulations and whatnot that involve large-scale solar. The town of Ayer never took the second step. It became a green community, but never took the second step, which I think is part of one of the requirements to enact the solar bylaw piece. So in essence, we will end up coming into compliance with one of the overall requirements of being a green community.
Green communities, okay, good.
So you're stepping up and saying, you know, we're a green community, we accept solar, and we, under the Green Communities Act, we're allowed to regulate it in certain areas of town, the large scale solar, and not all parts of it really. So it does help the town overall.
And I do think, though, that the ones that came before us were considered small scale, right? They were.
Oh, no, those are large scale.
They were,
Large scale.
Solar 1 and 2 were large scale.
okay,
I loved your definition,
okay.
Chair.
You previously covered planner report, or are we?
Yeah, that's, yes.
Okay. So, are we,
I think, yeah, I covered everything
which,
here.
actually, we have continued the discussion on revisions to air zoning bylaw, and that we want to try and get as close to final in February,
Mhm.
because in March we closed the public hearing, and Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to do a special town meeting for the zoning bylaw, correct?
Correct. So
And I know that April gets close to omnibus time and annual town meetings.
Excuse me. So the Board of Selectmen have already called the special town meeting for Monday, March 19th at 7 PM at the high school auditorium for the single item of this. So it's a single item. So I'm glad you mentioned, though, because it comes quick. The town meeting is the 19th. The warrant, per the town's bylaw, the warrant has to be mailed out to all of the residents. Usually 2 weeks. We like to try to do it 2 weeks before the 19th.
Okay.
So I think we need to really be in a position that the planning board is taking its final position, the Board of Selectmen, so, yeah, by the end of February, beginning of March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, then those become our hard dates between now and then. At one of these workshops, we'll see your final
Yes.
and/or everybody's final
Yes.
inputs.
In fact, my plan is for the January 17th public information session, I'll have a comparison of the features of the proposed bylaw in comparison to the existing one.
Because is the end of February time enough to give you our input toward what will be the closing of that warrant for special town meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right then, job well done. Maybe we could help Mark carry some of this stuff upstairs and let,
And feel free to take a traffic report,
yeah, really.
please. That's-
And let's let Mark Romani make his favorite,
Motion to adjourn?
do I have a second?
She seconded.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes, we've been here so long, I just got used
All
to
in favor?
Aye.